What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. This is a video that I've been getting requested a lot by people, how to replace the steering wheel. And today I'm going to show you. I have all kinds of steering wheels, as you can see. I have just the regular M Sport steering wheel. I have the F1 style steering wheel. This is the regular. And then this is the base model. If you have the base model steering wheel, keep in mind, you'll have to source a circle airbag for this mod to work, because this airbag unfortunately does not fit with these steering wheels, unfortunately. So you'd have to get a new airbag. The number one question I get about the steering wheel is my heated function still gonna work? Yes, if you buy the one that's compatible with heated, your heated function will still work. And no, you will not have any codes once you're finished installation with any steering wheel that you see. If you have the steering wheel, you'll need two things. You'll need the face plate, like this one, and you'll need the airbag. Those are the two things you'll need. You can swap over the buttons to the new steering wheel, no problem, and all the wiring will still be identically the same. So now that we've figured out about this steering wheel, let's get it out of the picture. And also, if you're wondering, the vibration sensor still works and operates just as well, because it sits right underneath here. And once we get into it, I'll show you how it looks like. If you decide to go for this steering wheel here, you could choose whatever option, colors, stitching, the whole nine. You could just swap everything over from your old steering wheel and put it on the new one. Compatible, fully plug and play. If you decide to go for the F1 steering wheel, there's only two cables that you'll need to splice into, black and red, one to give it power and black to ground it. And it also comes with an OBD adapter port. I took this off of my car just to show you guys an example of the steering wheels. I'll put it back at the end of the video and I'll rev it and I'll show you guys all the parameters and what this can do. Now that we've cleared all these myths up, let's go ahead and get to the installation. The owner of the car wants to use this steering wheel, so we're gonna swap everything over from here to here. And then once we're doing that, I'm going to show you what I did to splice into those two cables that are on the steering wheel itself, so you can just install it on the car, plug in your OBD adapter, and you're set to go. I'm going to put this back on the car just so I can show you how to take it off. The very first time I took the steering wheel off, it was a little tricky. I'd have to give a huge shout out to my buddy Jeff and my buddy Rose. They sat there and held my hand while I did this for the very first time, because you'll see once you get to it, it's a little finicky to get the airbag off, but once you get it off, you'll know how to do it every time. Underneath your paddle shifter, you'll find these little indents on both sides. You need to get a flathead screwdriver, and I'm going to show you how to use this. Once you get your flathead into that hole, there's a little spring right here that you have to press in. And when you press that spring in, it releases the airbag. You see, it's held on by these two things right here. So once you push your flathead in, you'll be able to push against that clip on both sides and that airbag will pop right out. You guys see my flathead? You go in there and you press it and that airbag should release. And it's pretty nice that they have a little guide here so that flathead will fit in there perfectly. And you just push on each side and pop that airbag out. First thing you need to do is make sure your rear battery is unplugged. Unplug the negative terminal. Once you pop that airbag out, you have a tab. Press it down and pull this connection out and you have your complete airbag out. Don't mind the top of this. We're currently changing out the steering wheel angle sensor, so don't mind that. Your steering wheel is held on by a 17mm screw. You're gonna need a pretty powerful Milwaukee or a power tool. Get into that screw, hold on to the steering wheel and pop that 17 out. Don't lose this. You have two more connections. One right here, just unplug it, and one on the top. Unplug it. Your steering wheel should pop out of place. There you go. The first thing you got to do is remove the two paddle shifters. If you look inside, it's a T20 screw right over there, and it holds in the paddle shifter. A magnet's going to be really helpful in this job. And here's that T20. Here's the second. Turn the steering wheel over. Pop this guy out of place. Same for this one. Just make it loose. And then on the back side, you have two blue connections. Unplug both of them. And here's your paddle shifters. If you guys are looking to change these out like we are, something like this, which is a lot cleaner, or if you want to go like my steering wheel, I have the F1 style. Magnetic. That's pretty nice. I'll link a video up above where it teaches you how you can change out your paddle shifters. Once the paddles are out of the way, it'll expose two T20 screws. You have three of them. One here, and one at the very bottom. Remove all three. There's those two. And the bottom one, usually you have to turn it around and just tap it and it'll pop out. Just for reference, that little screw is the one that sits at the bottom. And these two thicker looking screws sit behind the paddles. So this is just all for reference. This faceplate should now be loose. There's only a couple of things holding it. These little clips underneath here. Let me see if I can show you on camera. See these two? The best way is just to use two flatheads, put them in those two clips, space them out, and that faceplate should just pop out of place. You see it's starting to go. There you go. Voila. Now faceplate only has one connection for your buttons, which is right here. There you go. And here's your faceplate. Luckily we don't have to do anything here, so this just can stay how it is. You have this top plate. It's held on by 4 T20 screws. Remove them, all 4. This top plate. Pop up. And we're going to reuse this, so put it somewhere safe too. And this is basically what you're left over with. We're going to remove the cabling now. It's held on here for the ground. This module will just pop up with it. You have another ground right here, and you have 2 T20 screws that hold in the vibration motor. Open the ground. I like to just leave this screw in there. It's not going to pop out, it's pretty tight. Remove the vibration motor, 2. And this guy right here, just pull it up and unplug it. Matter of fact, we'll unplug this motor too. Just press down these tabs and your wiring is done. If you have heated steering, you'll have another module that sits right here. Pop it out as well, and it's the same thing applies. Don't forget the vibration sensor. Just comes out of place. There you go. You have 3 T20 screws that hold this plate in. We have to transfer it to the new one. Remove those 3. For reference, here's what those 3 screws look like. This top plate. Pop out of place. Behind the steering wheel, you have this plate back here. To remove that, you have to press in these light blue plastic tips here, so that back plate can press out. Get you a pair of pliers and just squeeze the top of that plastic and push it in. You don't have to use a lot of force, just enough to where it clears that little spot. And I'll show you when we take it out. And do the same for all 4. There's the first one. Just make sure you're pushing down on the bottom plate with your thumb, so this way you can give yourself some leverage. There's the third plate. Should just come out. And that is the only thing left that we need from this steering wheel. Now you can take this and sell it. And that is every single piece to the steering wheel, completely disassembled. The wiring harness, the 2 back plates, vibration motor, paddles, the face plate, top cover, and the steering wheel. The steering wheel doesn't have to be off the car, but this would be the perfect timing if you guys wanted to install your M1 and M2 buttons, because this top plate comes with those holes right here to support the holes for the M1 M2 versus the old plate. I'll link a video up here now. If you guys do want to install it, you could do it on the car. Just so you guys know, when you install these buttons, they give you 2 other extra options besides functional M1, M2 buttons. You can go ahead and open your door, and your seat will roll all the way back when you get out of the car. Also, if you have any windows left open, as soon as you put your car in park and open the door and turn off the car, all the windows roll up automatically. You don't have to hold any button. You don't have to worry about your windows being closed. Your sunroof and your windows will close automatically. I'll link a video up above and below in case you do want to install it. We do everything backwards. The very first things that are going to go back on the new steering wheel are these 2 plates. You're going to start with this back plate that you took off first. With this plate, you can't just put it in there and push it down. You'll have to get these little ridges inside of those holes. See that? So you turn it around and you use a flathead. Keep pressure on the back of the steering wheel so that plate doesn't go down. Get you a flathead. And just walk those little plastic tips back into that hole. Just work your way around. And it's in. Do the rest of the ones that are left. There's the second, third, and that plate is completely back on. Next is this plate. Just set it back over the holes and put back your 3 T20 screws in there. There's no specific torque specs on these. When you pop them, just feel out how hard they are, and when you go back to put them in, they should be the same way. Just tighten just a little bit and you should be good to go. There you go. Next is your vibration motor. Just set it in place like so. 2 T20s. Next is your wiring harness. Pretty simple. Start off with this big module. That is just the only one on the wiring harness. It's connected by this connection here. This connection, you're gonna see a little channel right over there. Push it in as deep as it goes, like that. See this guy here? Push it in on that. This module, it just sits. See this notch? It's supposed to sit flush against this side right here. all right, with that little connector underneath it. This connection, that's the one that goes into the car, so we can just leave that in that little hole. Remember, you have your ground. Just put the screw back in. Put that screw in. Make sure that that cable is in between that little channel right over here. You see it? So just set it over that channel. Your cord goes in this little hole right here. You can tighten down that T20. Not too tight. This goes to your paddle shifter, so we can just leave that in here for now. This goes to the car. Run your cabling down this channel, put it in there. This is for the other paddle shifter. Do not forget, please don't forget to connect back your vibration motor. Yeah. And this connection goes to the faceplate back here where we're going to install next. Just for reference, I want to make your life so much easier if you're installing this. Your M1, M2 buttons, they have two connections. If you were to put them on the car, this connection goes to where your faceplate originally connects to, and this one goes to the faceplate itself. Very simple. And then you have your M1, M2 buttons completely done on the steering wheel. The other half of the installation will be linked up above. Next is your top cover plate. Just feed it over these two holes, right here and right here, and line up those 4 T20 screws in place. That's it. Pull back your 4 screws. Not too tight on these 4 T20s, please. That's nice and secure. Faceplate is next. Connection is right here. Plug it back in. Feed the faceplate back onto the steering wheel, like so. Remember these 2 tabs? Click them in, like this. Once those 2 are clicked in place, look over on top and make sure there's no gap between that top plate and that faceplate you just put in. Turn it around, and here's those 3 T20 screws. Remember, the one that doesn't look the same goes on the very bottom, right here. Put that T20 in that hole, press from the bottom of that steering wheel to give yourself leverage, and tighten that T20, not too tight. Put back the ones behind the paddle shifters. Last 2 things are the paddle shifters. Let me swap these out to the new ones like I said in the beginning. If you need a video to show you how to do that, I'll link it up above and down below as well. So give me a second, I'll be right back. Here are those paddles changed out. Change of plans, we did blue instead of black. Turn the steering wheel over, feed this blue line in that hole. Like so. Same for the other side. Connect your paddle shifters back together, just like so. While you're holding the paddle shifters up to the steering wheel, we're gonna put back those T20 screws. Use an extension to feed that T20 in that hole right here. Hope you guys can see that. And that is for the paddle shifter. Don't tighten it too much or you won't be able to click your paddle shifter when you want to use it. Right when it bottoms out, just stop. Give it a test. Make sure it's still clicking. Do the same for the other side. These 2 paddle shifter cables, just tuck them underneath. And this guy is ready to go back in the car. That looks so good. Not with the M1, M2 buttons, but still looks really, really good. Once again, please don't mind this. We're changing the steering angle sensor. On the steering wheel, you're gonna see a line right here at the very bottom of those little threads, right over here. And on the car itself, you're gonna see this little notch right here as well. Just line those up, and it should slide right in. You can't misalign it because the threads won't fit if that line isn't lined up. Once it's pushed in, all the way, you have your first connection, plug it back in. Your second connection, plug it back in. You take your 17, thread it about 5 or 6 times in, so you make sure that it's going in nice and smooth and it's not cross-threaded. Take a Milwaukee, sit the bolt on there flush, so the steering wheel doesn't move when you put pressure on it. And now, tighten that sucker down. The last thing you have is your airbag. Just push this in to that connection right over here. And the last thing you do is you push this in and click it. I don't want to do that because I still have to take this off so I can finish replacing that sensor and coating everything. And that is how you install a steering wheel on a 540 Bmw G30 all in general. 520, 530, 540, 550, you get the idea. F90, that's how you install it. Now let me show you how my F1 steering wheel works in my car. When you get the F1 steering wheel, it's gonna have 2 cables, red and black. Let me show you how I connected it so you guys have an idea. Remember that very top connection we pulled out of the car? If you look, it's gonna have red and a black cable. The red goes to red the black goes to red. Excuse me, the red goes to red, black goes to black. My apologies. You plug it back in the car, and you plug in your OBD adapter. So this module that's in here can talk to the screen, and you can all read all your parameters that's on the car on the screen here. Let me show you how that works. Once you turn the car on and you have your OBD plugged in, you'll start to see your RPM. If you click this button right here, it'll take you to your coolant temperature and your volts. This has your inlet temperature, throttle position, and your engine load. Stopwatch 0 to 60, 60 to 130, and so on. If you press and hold this button, everything turns off. Press and hold again, it'll turn back on. This is how you go into the menu. You press and hold the right button for 5 seconds. You can set your LED. 5 seconds. You can set your brightness, how bright you want it to be. I have mine set at 15. How to go back one menu is you press and hold the left, go down in setting to the color set. You can set your shift RPM. You can set what kind of colors you'll have. So I have F1 style, but there's many to choose from. Okay. Go back a menu. This is your timer. You can boot whatever logo you want. I have the M logo, and you can drive safe, but this one looks better. 0 to 100 mile test, speed test. You can clear your any engine codes. You can clear them from here. And then your LCD brightness, which is for this. Language. Shutdown voltage. This, if he goes down below a certain voltage, it'll shut down the steering wheel. I have mine set to 15. I never want it to shut off unless I do. So you can just turn it all the way up. Display style. You can have the screen go white and black, dark gray. I have black and white. Units, you can do imperial or the other. And then go back. Let me give you an example. Flashing at you. You can set this to flash at you at whatever RPM you like. Anti-lag. And here's the M1, M2 buttons, for example. You click the M2, goes to comfort, then to eco. M1 goes to comfort, then sports plus. So very nice to have it up here instead of here. And then the paddle shifter, a little anti-lag. There you go. When you turn off the car, everything shuts off. And that, my good friends, is how you install a G30 steering wheel. Very simple and straight to the point. If you guys have any questions, just let me know. I'll link all the steering wheels, the M1, M2 buttons, the paddle shifters down below in my description. And I'll link the videos on how to install those two separate things up above and down in the description as well too. If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate. Just let me know. Until next time, take it easy. Peace.
Alright, you guys need to open up. Take a step back. Take a step back. He wants to go for it. Alright, we need to make sure we catch that on video. There you go.